Closing thoughts on it. I sure as hell hope they have some actual content to go with it, because I speak for everybody that played that game. We all beat it within like a month, right? It doesn't have a lot of content. The characters were awesome. Nobody should complain about the characters themselves, because they're better than the characters that are in the base game. Because they made them for the game instead of trying to import them from 3. It's just the problem is there's nothing to use them on, so kinda wasn't really worth it. If you hadn't played the game, it's worth the money, I would say. Well, that's the thing, dude, they can't. They can't. Games based on shonen properties are really limited in what they can do if it's still being written. If it's still being written, they have a lot of limits on what they can do. It's funny because they tried to find a solution for that with Pirate Warriors 2, which I'm not a One Piece fan, but I know that that game was basically like fan fiction. That was how they got around it. That's how they got around the fact that they didn't have enough content to make a new game out of. I guess maybe people didn't like that or something. But it's been like that for decades. Like, the Dragon Ball games that we got over here were made after the series ended. But, the ones that the Japanese got, those were very much like the One Piece and Naruto games and stuff, where it's like, well, the author's still writing it, so can't really have like a conclusive ending or anything like that. A lot of people don't know that this has been going on for a long time. It's just when we started getting weeb shonen stuff, basically there was like a resurgence in Dragon Ball games once it got dubbed. Because it was dubbed in South America, and then we got the English dub over here. Japan started making more Dragon Ball games. The difference is that the series was already over, so they could have a lot more liberties with it. With One Piece, they're kind of like, well, this shit's never gonna end. It goes on and on and on forever. I think that's why they're doing the other characters. It's like legit the arc that One Piece is in right now is the same one that it was in when Pirate Warriors 4 came out like 3 years ago. That's how slow it goes. They like can't make a new game. They really can't. Also, Bamco as a business has been, I guess they want their games to last longer. Well, Pirate Warriors 3 is... There are some nice things about Pirate Warriors 4, but... That game is a good example of when you take characters from one game and you try to put them in another, but you don't do it right. So that's pretty much the problem with that game. Tashigi, the chick with the katana, is like everything wrong with that game. Instead of making new animations to to accommodate for the new gameplay mechanics, they tried to take the old animations and repurpose them. They basically recycled them, like old fighting game sprites and stuff, like King of Fighters. As you all know, if you actually play that game, you know that a lot of the characters at launch, the launch characters, really suck. Because they're, like, not finished. That's why the DLC characters are actually pretty awesome if you haven't played the game before, because they're built around the systems of Pirate Warriors 4. They're not taking old animations and trying to make them do something else. I don't know how much of that is Koei Tecmo's fault. I feel like they were put in a shitty situation. It's like, hey, we want you to completely revamp the combat system, even though you spent 3 games and like 6 years changing the other, working with the other one. But we're not going to give you any money or time to do it, so just recycle as much as you can, which is pretty much the main problem with that combat system. It's hard to take moveset animations for a game like this and repurpose it into something else, because it was never intended to be used that way. Which is precisely the problem with Pirate Warriors 4. It's still a fun game, especially with mods. But its shortcomings are very obvious and pretty much parroted to death and back. I think everybody has been a dead horse about it. There's only a few characters that are fun and useful. Yeah, that's Pirate Warriors 4 in a nutshell. Also, the random tech outs in that game really suck. Like they just get out of your combo whenever they feel like it, which is it's like they took the worst aspect of playing Tales games at a high level. And like in most of them, they just kind of tech out when they feel like it. It's like they took that and made it a core gameplay mechanic, instead of just keeping it like it was in the 3rd game, where it's pretty much when they're not stunned anymore, they'll get out. Which is like such a simple way to do it, but for some reason they made it so it's random. It's like tripping in Smash Brothers Brawl. It just happens. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no skill involved. It's interesting how lot of these action games try to copy Kingdom Hearts and how they prevent infinite combos with like you know, there's like a set value in those games, and when it's met, the boss will tech out. But you can bait the burst like a fighting game and get around it, which is really cool. That's like one of the best ways to balance, you know, being able to combo stuff to death forever. But often what happens is, no, they just get out whenever the hell they feel like it. This just makes it feel like you're playing a gacha game, like you're gambling every time you hit them, which is trash. That's like the main thing I don't like about Pirate Warriors 4. What's up, Danny? You're here to look at some combo videos, because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing, I'm doing live no editing combo videos right now. That's basically what I'm doing. I really like this team. I might make a video with them. What game? You mean Pirate Warriors 4 getting DLC? Actually, it's not very surprising at all, because like what I said, it's something that's been going on with video games based on shonen properties that are still being written. They're really limited on what they can do. One Piece is so long-winded that the saga that it ended with, or the arc, or whatever you want to call it, it's still going on, like 3 years later. So there's not enough material for a new game. That's probably why they're pulling a whole Necromancer act with Pirate Warriors 4. They do not have anywhere near enough material to make a new game. So what they're doing is they're just putting them in the game that already exists, and they'll just recycle them when it is time to make an actual sequel. That's what they're going to do. Yeah, a lot of people think that stuff like this happening is a new thing. It's not. It's been going on since the 90s. It's just we didn't get a lot of those games. There's lots of Dragon Ball Z games on Super Nintendo that only cover like certain parts of the story because it wasn't finished yet. History repeats itself. It's kind of why stuff like the Fist of the North Star Muso is like, feels a little bit better. Maybe not gameplay-wise, of course, but it was already over, so they had no creative limits. They could do whatever the hell they wanted. They weren't waiting for the author to finish the story, which takes like 5, 10, 20 years. No, I'm not a One Piece fan at all. I just play the games, dude. I just play the games. I mean, there's a Dragon Ball Z turn-based RPG on Super Nintendo that stops at the Vegeta fight, because that's all that was written at the time. It might be hard for people to grasp, but it's one of the downsides of trying to make tie-in games for shonen IPs and stuff. They go on forever. It's probably because of the assets. Even the Kamen Rider Musou games, they're kind of like honorary shonen anime tie-in games, because the way it works in those Musou games is they have like a lot of legacy characters, so their story is already done. They can have like all their forms and attacks and stuff, but then they were always coinciding with the currently airing series. So what happened with those games, they made 3 of them. It's basically the Kamen Riders from the series that was currently airing would not have their final form or like barely anything. And then in the second game, which pretty much always happened after the series was over, you know, they would add all that stuff in later. So it's interesting. That's kind of a unique case though, because Kamen Rider is pretty much always on air. Gotta get his weapon, huh? I don't know, One Piece games recycle a ton of stuff, so it's not really too surprising. Gotta think about how Dynasty Warriors 9 is like, it's like 50 gigs, right? And the world in that game is like vast expanses of nothing, but it still has less data than an Ubisoft game, which is not much different. I always say Dynasty Warriors 9 is nowhere near as bad as people say it is. At least you get an open world game with halfway decent combat, which is not easy to find. Plus, that game is... traversing that game is better than a lot of the Western open world games, just because the game doesn't go out of its way to waste your time. You can pretty much... find a fast travel point like every couple minutes of gameplay, if not seconds. It's like less than a minute to find another fast travel point, so... I put way more time into that game than any other open world game, because despite its faults, it didn't waste your time. And I think that's a very underappreciated thing about that game, is now it's... since that game has come out, everybody's been talking about how games don't respect your time anymore. I mean, for an open world game, that game did respect your time pretty well. The horse, once it was leveled up, was like Mach speed. It's like Speed Racer's Mach 5, and there was a fast travel point like every couple seconds. So you could get right to where you needed to go. The initial exploration actually was not even that bad, just because you had all the fast travel points. But everybody just says that game has no redeeming qualities. I'm like, clearly you haven't played any other open world games, because that game has a lot. It may not have enough. I'd argue it doesn't have enough, but... I see all the Ubisoft games that they put out, the open world games, and they all look worse to play than Dynasty Warriors 9. The combat sucks, and there's just like a trillion things to do, and it's overwhelming. Dynasty Warriors 9, despite its faults, does not waste your time. It's one of the rare open world games that felt like your time was honored. Should reinstall that game again. I had some fun mods for it. Yeah, I like how people complained about the grappling hook veto. It's like, the game doesn't force you to use it. The grappling hook is there to save you time. That's what it's there for. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. That kind of argument goes back to when we started getting arcade ports. People complained about that with Strider 2. It's like, oh, the game is too easy. You could just keep continuing. I'm like, well, it's an arcade port. The whole point is to try to beat it on 1 credit. But they let you credit feed because you paid... When you pay for an arcade port, you're paying for, like, a good 6 playthroughs. If the game is like 50 cents, which is pretty common price, then you're paying for, like, what, like 10 playthroughs or something? They have to put that in there so you can beat the game. But, like, if you don't like continuing and credit feeding, then don't do it. Like, it's that simple. The game doesn't... Those games did not force you to credit feed. The continue thing was there for a reason. Yeah, there was an X-Play review for that game, Hellbreaker. It's basically just complaining that the game was too easy to beat. It's like, alright, well, that just tells me that you credit-fed through the game. So you can't complain that it's too easy, because you did the equivalent of just going into the arcade with quarters, and just spamming continues until you beat it, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you can't complain about the game being too easy if you do that. One or the other, not both. Everyone's complaining about the grappling hook. Oh, you could just go over and beat the officer. I'm like, that tells me you don't actually play Muso games, because everybody who's played Muso games for at least a couple dozen hours has always had a time where it's like, you know what? I don't want to wait for this generic officer to get over to this spot so the door opens. I just want to go and Rambo the commander right now. That's what the game lets you do. But it was completely optional. You didn't have to do it. Arcade ports just kind of exemplified how gamers, or at least the people that review them, don't have any self-control. If you think the game is boring because you're credit feeding, then stop credit feeding. If you don't want to, use the grappling hook and just skip all the breaking into the castle, then don't do it. Never at any point in Dynasty Warriors 9 are you forced to use the grappling hook. Because the people who made that game, despite being tasked with making an open-world game with like 120 characters and a shoestring budget, they actually knew to respect your time. That's why that stuff is in there. There's like legit like 100 story modes in that game. That's why they put that in there. Like, yeah, I just want to see the story. I just want to see the ending, or I want to get this achievement. And I don't want to spend 10 minutes doing every single siege battle for 120 characters. Nothing wrong with that. Not everyone has infinite time to play video games. It's nice. It's nice to have a game like that that's like, hey, you know, this game has a lot of content, but we don't force you to interact with it in excessive amounts. I mean, we just had the Diablo 4 drama last week, where they basically put out a patch that does nothing but make the game slower and not respect your time. Really makes you appreciate Dynasty Warriors 9 for not doing that. The horse in that game is so much better than the horse in Diablo 4. It's hilarious. The horse in this game as well is like leaps and bounds better than the one in Diablo 4. Because this horse is just fast. It gets you to where you need to go quickly, so you can keep playing. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 looks like kind of a slog. Those gimmick boss fights go on for like 20 minutes. I'm like, man, I probably wouldn't like this game. I find it funny how they were bragging about how the game was perfect and didn't need a day one patch, and then they fucking did one anyway. I just found that hilarious. Because just of how releasing a video game works. It's been said, like, the first hour a game is released is more QA testing than they got throughout the entire development cycle. Now, granted, to be fair, everybody starts the game at the same point. But still, you can't just say the game is perfect and doesn't need a day one patch, because this is not how the game industry works. The copies get printed and everything like a long time before the game is actually released. They have to send it to the factories to get printed. So it's like the devs aren't doing anything, they might find bugs, so they get fixed. I just found that really funny. It's stupid. Our game is perfect. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a good game, yes. Saying you don't need a day one patch is pretty ballsy stuff. I was laughing so hard when they said that there was going to be a day one patch. I'm like, what did you think was going to happen? No, it's not on hold. They were just waiting. They're waiting to have more content to adapt. Didn't help that when they got people to play that game early, all of them had, like, never played a Musou game before, so that didn't help the general impression. The classic. Let's get people that don't like these games and don't know how to play them to advertise our products. Never fails. I'm not even talking about me. I mean, like, other people in the community, too. Like, it's not that hard to, like, go on YouTube and find somebody that doesn't have, like, 8 billion subscribers, but likes the games and would play it for free. Play it early for free. Give them a review key. But no. You want Asmongold to do it because he has like 10 million subscribers and he doesn't like the games. Just get him to do it because he's got the most numbers. I've had that happen with the Double Dragon game. They gave a key to some guy who has like 90,000 subscribers. Not only was his video quality really bad, which is funny because you think with 90k subscribers you would have like a priority to have good video quality. He had bad video quality and he didn't even know how to play. It's like, alright. Okay. It's a tale as old as time. The companies want numbers, they don't want passion, they don't want people that want to cover the game and would do it without getting paid or getting an early key. They just want the largest numbers, the most eyes on it. It's like, well, they're not advertising it properly because they don't like that kind of game. They don't enjoy playing it. That's why I'm thankful for you guys. Not even just donations. I know I've got the donation thing in my description right now for games, but I'm thankful for people who watch my videos because what I do is the ones that do well. Like I had a lot of videos for this game that did really well when it came out. I use those as credentials. So it's like, hey, you know, I might not have like a more billion subscribers, but I'm passionate about the games, I know what I'm doing, and I cover them thoroughly, and I explain the mechanics to people. Like, most of the time, that gets me keys. It does. So thank you to the people who watch. Obviously, donating is useful, yes, but the people that watch the overviews and stuff that I do, it's very appreciated, because in a way, it's like an indirect donation, because I use it to get keys. So, thanks to you guys for doing that. It's very, very useful. I've used the overview I did of this that has like 20,000 views. I've used it for review keys like a dozen times now. I'm like, that's worth it. That's worth it. I can't complain about that. The video I did 3 years ago, you know, they skim through it and they see that the like ratio is high. It has viewership and there's like comment engagement on it and stuff. They're like, yeah, sure, I'll give him a key. Alright, cool. So thanks to the people who watch. God of War, I only played the first one, the second one, and what was the first one? Chains of Olympus, the PSP one. Those are the only ones I played. I tried the new God of War, the first one that's on PC, and I thought it was fucking terrible. I thought it was terrible. It's a forced walking section and just time wasting constantly. I got to the part where I had to carry some board to that chick's house and I like uninstalled the game. Like, this shit is boring. When do I get to play? Why don't you just make shit like that a cutscene? Yeah, the new God of War games are awful. A perfect example of video games trying to waste time. Hey! You got the developer of Double Dragon Gaiden in here. Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back about a key right now, dude. Hey, welcome. Gonna make you a moderator. What are you doing in here? What are you doing in here? I haven't heard back about a review key and I'm like flat broke right now. But yeah, I'm really excited for your game. Thank you for stopping by. It's an honor. You might remember I covered your first game back when it came out. Good game. You're a moderator in my chat because I mod developers of games I play, and I played Devil's Dare a lot on this channel back when it came out. So enjoy your mod powers. This is like the most boring mission though. I'm gonna assume it's Raymond I'm talking to, right? Yeah, ironically, your Double Dragon game kind of has the same mechanic as this, with the tagging. Yeah, this mission is the worst. This mission is the worst, because it takes too long. It's alright, though. Let's see, what is my proficiency at right now? 22. 7. No, the new God of War games have pacing issues. They just go out of their way to waste your time. Yeah, the mechanic in Double Dragon Gaiden is very similar to how this works. It's just there's no cooldown on it, but you can basically tag at any time. These games are how I got addicted to tag combos, is these games. That's how I got the addiction. Like, I've been addicted to tag combos and shit for like 16 years now because of these games. These specific lines of Musou games, meaning the Warriors Orochi games, where the core mechanic is being able to tag and build a team. So very similar to the game you made. Yeah, but you're the first one to do it in a beat-em-up, an actual, like, authentic beat-em-up. These are basically, like, 3D beat-em-ups with, like, strategy elements. Like, having to capture bases and stuff like that and complete objectives, but they're basically 3D beat 'em ups. What brings you in here? How did you get in here? I don't really promote my streams. I just kind of stream for fun. I don't know how you got in here, but welcome. I always moderate every every developer that comes in here. You guys make the games I play. It's the least I can do. Well, I don't have it yet. I've been waiting to hear back about a key for like 2 weeks. But I know the community manager is having some issues with Twitter right now because Elmo Musk had to make it so that there's a direct message limit. So I don't know if I'm getting one. That's why I have the little donation thing to try to raise the money for it, because I've had a very difficult month financially. I hope that I'll get a key, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not asking you for one, by the way. I know it's not your decision to make, because that's a publisher decision. Not a developer's decision. I know you don't handle it yet. I'm already ahead of you. I already mentioned that. Yeah, I haven't heard back from him in like over a week, so I don't know what's going on with that. No, I have not played God of War 3. No, if you can get a hold of him, he's already talked to me. It's just I haven't heard back in like a week, so I'm kind of assuming I'm not getting one. Or there's some other problem. Yeah, the old God of War games definitely have a better gameplay to cutscene ratio for sure. The new ones are basically like almost, it's basically just a movie. Forced walking sections all the time, like, come on man. I'm not getting any younger. Can you stop doing that shit? Either make it a cutscene I can skip, or don't have forced walking at all. Although I think with that game, to be fair, a lot of it is masking load times, because that game has to run on the PS4. It's a very impressive game for PS4. Both of them are very technically impressive, but that's one of the ways they mask load times. The Final Fantasy VII Remake does that shit too. They make you crawl around and stuff all the time. So they can say there's no load screens. It's like, no, there's load screens. The forced walking sections and having to crawl and slide through stuff is load screens. It's just there's no. It's not like a black screen telling you it's loading, but it's masking the load times. But we all know when they start making exclusive God of War games for PS5 only, they're still gonna do that shit. Have no excuse for it anymore. It's still gonna happen. Because it makes the game longer. Yeah, the Final Fantasy VII Remake is notorious for that shit too. How often you have to, like, crawl through stuff. Because it's loading. It's loading the next part of the level. Instead of just doing the sensible thing and just letting people accept that there's going to be a load screen, which has been video game staple for decades. Like, nope, we're just gonna make you crawl through this thing really slowly. Never mind, the game's not loading at all. It's not loading, okay? There's no load screens. You just have to watch Cloud slide through this thing or push this box very slowly. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, because the PS4 one has to run on a base stock mechanical hard drive, so people will find ways to go too fast, and then it'll start loading. There's actually game developer interviews about this, how they had to cap like run speed and stuff like the Jak and Daxter games, because if they made it any faster, the assets wouldn't load in time. It's like, yeah, I think like the bike in that game was like slow or something, and they said, well, if they made it any faster, then the PS2 could not stream the assets off the disc fast enough, so they had to slow it down. Hey, thanks, man. Can you talk to Jeff for me? I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. So I already talked to him. I just haven't heard back about the key in like over a week, so I don't know what's going on. If you have a direct line to him, I'd greatly appreciate it, because I am flat broke right now. Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks. Hey, later, man. Thank you. Gotta laugh about how much people were going rabid over the PS5 and there's like no games for it. Things were sold out and all the online sites were taking advantage of it by forcing you to buy a bundle. It's pretty funny. It's like there's no games to play on it. You don't need it. I think it only has like 4 exclusives right now. Ratchet and Clank is coming to PC, like I think in a couple days. PS5 feels like you can buy it now, but like not many games to play on it.
戦いは苦しみから明日を遠ざけるために。夜を切り裂こう。俺の出番だぜ。笑えるぜ。これくらいで俺を殺せると思ってんの？へえ、始まりだ。絶望へのカウントダウン。戦いは彼らの罪を清算しよう。バーカ！このパンチを食らえ！
悪党邪道全部退散。
わらわが許す。生きてくるかわからぬわ。
闇の
Yeah, this is the Switch version running on an emulator, because I tried to play this game again, and it just doesn't take my controller. I spent like a fucking hour trying to get it to take my controller, and I gave up. And I have the Switch version already. I have a jailbroken Switch, so I just took matters into my own hands, and I ripped my copy, and then I copied my save over to the emulator. So we'll try this for a little bit. What do I feel bad about? I fucking bought the game, dude. It's my legal copy. What is there to feel bad about? I haven't pirated any Switch games. I bought them all. I just don't want to play them on shit hardware. I have every right to do that. Oh, you're being sarcastic. Alright, good. This is really laggy looking. I wonder what's wrong with it. Try to fix this. Hold on. They want me to stop dumping my games, then Nintendo needs to make better hardware. So that all their games don't run at like 20 FPS, then maybe I would stop doing it. They got their money. I paid full price for those games. As far as I'm concerned, the business transaction was legal. I just don't want to play it on the actual Switch. That's all. Age of Calamity, perfect example. A game's like 20 FPS all the time. It's awful. Well, for me, the benefit of not pirating the games is that I get to carry over my saves too. So, since I already bought them, I get to import my save. So it's like there's no downside. It runs better and I don't have to start the game from scratch. I mean, everybody wins. They got their money. Nintendo's anti-piracy methods are really stupid anyway, because they just a couple months ago they gave the guy that made the program that makes it so that you can get your keys off your Switch, which is what you need to play the games on emulator. They made it so that was illegal. They DMCA'd that guy. It's like, well, there's a major problem with doing that. Is that the people that are using that program are not pirating. Because you can just go download the games, right? It's just like retro games. Just go find a torrent or a site and just go download it. You don't need to dump your keys. It's for people that are trying to do it legally. But they fucking they gave him a DMCA copyright claim. It's like, well, what is that gonna do? It's gonna make people pirate the games more. Because there's no legal way to do it. It's just completely ass backwards. It's like... Nobody who just pirates the games, which everybody has their ethical and moral reasons for doing so. I'm not a judge. I definitely pirate a lot of old games too that you can't buy anymore. But nobody that's using that program is pirating, because there's no point. There's no point in doing that. You can just go download the ROM. Bayonetta 3 and Tears of the Kingdom were available to play on the internet like days before they came out. So, what does it accomplish? It's just gonna drive people to pirate more, because you're taking away the legal alternative. It makes no sense. It boggles my mind that they did that. It's like, okay, so you're basically just saying you want people to pirate the games. You don't want them to buy them legally and then back them up and have permanent access to them, because preservation with video games is a joke, by the way. Actually, there was an article put out like last week that said that 87% of the games released before 2010, you can't buy them anymore. It's a totally believable metric, because shit, I have like Transformers Devastation. That's like a 2015 game. You can't buy it anymore. It's not even a decade old. You can't buy it anymore. The Legend of Korra game as well, like 2016. Can't buy it anymore. You can go look this up. It's called Lockpick RCM. You can go look it up. This is running really weird. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't feel like troubleshooting right now. I've already got acid reflux to worry about. Let's fix that later. Let's play something else. Oh, good. You can still get lockpick RCM. Everybody is just putting it all over the internet. I'm like, good. The only reason to use lockpick is if you're trying to do it legally with games you already bought. And like I said, Nintendo sucks. But there are good, legitimate reasons for dumping your games legally. First of which is being able to dump your saves. Because some of these games I put dozens of hours into. And like, yes, it's nice that it runs better, but I don't want to play through 60 hours of a game anymore. So I just copy my save over, and it's a straight upgrade. And I cannot do that if I pirate the game. It's just funny that that's their answer to piracy, is punishing the people who are doing it legally.
Hmm. 俺はもう準備万端だ。
全開部です。ファンタジアの始まります。邪魔だ。カデンシャご清聴ありがとうございます。元気いきたい。これはナナミの最強の切り札だよ。元気いきたい。 始まりカデンスご清聴ありがとうございますカデンスご清聴ありがとうございますご清聴ありがとうございます何が全部頼みに切れな人気一体これはナナミの最強の切り札だよ頼みに切れると俺は邪魔だ人気一体これはナナミの最強の切り札だよ人気一体これがナナミの最強の切り札だよ準備完了オーバーチュアの始まりカデンサご清聴ありがとうございますご清聴ありがとうございます邪魔だカデンサご清聴ありがとうございます一気にいくよやーどこ見てんだよ全部消え失せ気をつけろどこ見てんだよ全部消え失せどんなハーモニーが好きですかやーどこ見てんだよ全部消え失せ気をつけろ大したことねえ別に褒められるようなことじゃん
Anthony, get it done! Why am I having so much trouble with the elevator? I should be killing it! Get it done! Gosh dang it, Anthony! What the heck is the matter with you?